I just, do you know, sometimes I actually have no words for these people. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. If you're visiting my channel for the first time and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. House rules. Please do not watch this video if you have absolutely no interest in the subject matter, as indicated by the thumbnail. You struggle to simply accept other people's opinions when they don't necessarily align with yours. You're a professional point misser. You are not able to engage respectfully. Remember that there are countless other channels that cater specifically to your needs and preferences. Therefore, please feel free to exit this video and engage with their content instead. So it's been another interesting week in the UK from an online point of view. So for those of you who have any interest in this, I want to talk to you about another unsavoury character, Dan Wootton. And this was prompted by a comment left by, I'm not sure if he's a subscriber, but he is John Newbold 7539. And he left a comment under my last video regarding Dan Wootton. For those of you who don't know who Dan Wootton is, if you watched this video I did a few weeks back, he was very vocal in his exchange with Tom Bower. You guys should know who he is by now. And they continually disparage Harry and Meghan on Dan's show. As you guys know, I don't really engage. I'm not really interested in these characters, but I've known about Wootton since he was on ITV. He used to be a correspondent on the Lorraine show. And then he mysteriously left. Well, mysteriously left. I don't know the circumstances under which he left, and I don't care, quite frankly. Seen him pop up on GB News online. Continues to insult Harry and Meghan in whichever way he can. He's getting paid for it, so that's, I guess, his bread and butter. But I'm going to give an acknowledgement to John Newbold because he alerted me to this, and he was very subtle in the way that he left the comment. It didn't go into much detail. This is the comment here. So I thought, let me actually look into this because this looks quite interesting. I didn't do any immediate research because I was last week was very challenging. Okay, so it's not until one of my very close friends called me. We were having a conversation and he said to me, did you hear about Dan Wootton? Because he knows that I do these types of videos. So he said, did you hear about Dan Wootton? I said, someone commented under my last video and mentioned Dan Wootton. So that got me even more interested. I said, what happened? And he told me what happened and he directed me to some resources online. So I went to Twitter. I have a Twitter account, but I do not go into the Twitter landscape because of its toxicity, as far as I'm concerned. Nevertheless, I went onto Twitter and saw this long long tweet from a guy called Kevin Sutherland. And he apparently is an ex-boyfriend of Dan Wootton. I'm not even going to attempt to read everything. I will put the link in the description if you would like to see the tweet yourself. The gist of it is that Kevin Sutherland has made sensational allegations against Dan Wootton, saying, as you can see from the headline, what was done to him. And again, it's, you know, this murky territory which I try to stay away from, but it seems to be unavoidable these days. So as I say, if you want to read the full account of what he says, the link is in the description below. In response to his tweet, well, but even before he responded to the tweet, Dan Wootton fled to New Zealand, as John, my commenter, had said. And I think I'd seen online something from his employer, I think his GB News had said, Dan is taking a break due to his, you know, something to do with his mental health. I was like, okay, interesting. And then Dan Wootton issued a video, and I shall play that for you now.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel. I'm Dan Woodson. And as a journalist, I feel uncomfortable being the story. But I've always promised you that this show has no spin and no bias and no censorship. So I owe it to you to address this. As you probably don't know, hopefully you don't know, because you're not insane enough to pay attention to the cesspit of social media. These past few days, I have been the target of a smear campaign by nefarious players with an axe to grind. Notably, by an ex-partner who I was, and this is something I've never spoken about and it's very difficult to talk about publicly, but who I was previously abused by, and who has been on a campaign to destroy my life. In the past, he has written to me confessing to being a, quote, psychopath, and I saw this firsthand when he threatened in writing to, quote, slit my throat, many years after we had broken up. I have been forced to report his behaviour and threats to police. They are now investigating. He has created an untrue story about me and appears to have been working with an organisation who are intent on closing down this channel, whose reporters include a convicted phone hacker. The Guardian has also reported it tonight. What a surprise. Other unspeakable slurs have been made by a convicted extortionist I have never even met, who has a long history of blackmailing gay men and was sent to jail for a number of years by a judge who said his behaviour was, quote, compulsive and provided a high risk to the public. I, like all fallible human beings, have made errors of judgment in the past, but the criminal allegations being made against me are simply untrue. I would like nothing more than to address those spurious claims. I could actually spend the next 2 hours doing so, but on the advice of my lawyers, I cannot comment further. But I have been thinking much over the past few days about the current state of social media, where any allegation can be made in an attempt to get someone cancelled, but it is impossible to defend yourself against thousands of trolls. That said, I am coming on air tonight with a lot of humility too. I think being in the middle of this witch hunt has made me think a lot about the sort of journalist and broadcaster I aspire to be. One focused on the massive political threats facing this country, not on personal attacks. I mean, who doesn't have regrets? Should I be cancelled for them many years later? Or do you accept that I have learned and changed? The last few years, I've grown professionally and personally, and I've also found the meaning of true love after that truly toxic relationship with my ex that hurt me and damaged me. I've found happiness in my personal life with my wonderful boyfriend who is here tonight, my friends and family and my world. the toll that this has taken on their mental health, well, I mean, that is literally killing me to watch. There is a reason why I have, since day one on this show, had a segment called Uncancelled. Because our rush to judge before due process, thanks in my case to the mad ramblings of highly politicised Twitter trolls and revolting blogs that eschew basic journalistic standards, is destroying democracy. And that's why, by the way, I didn't say a word about Hugh Edwards. Not one word. No tweet was deleted by me, despite the misinformation and lies perpetuated by Carol Vorderman. I didn't know the facts, and I wasn't going to weigh in until I did. I do also note that there are dark forces out to try and take this brilliant channel down. Whether it's Nigel's bank account, which we're going to hear about from him soon, Patrick's Twitter, Jacob and Lee's ability to speak out, Calvin, who is also here tonight, his right to have religious views, or Lawrence speaking out against the entertainment establishment. We have all found ourselves under attack. And that's because GB News is the biggest threat to the establishment in decades. And they'll stop at nothing to destroy us. But we will keep fighting for you, because we are a family here. You have been with me since day one on what has been a life-changing experience for me, and we have each other's back. The way you have understood what's been happening these past few days, and I've seen it, I've seen your messages, I've seen what you've had to say, and that has meant the world to me. I recognise I'm a polarising figure, and by speaking out in this way, I'm opening the gates of hell on my life. But social media has become a race to the bottom. Pile-ons are now the way to cancel a person. Our country is better than that. We must be. We must be. And that's why GB News exists. What we're trying to do here is something different, to give a voice to the long-forgotten people of the United Kingdom. And a great man reminded me today that people don't follow you because you're right. They follow you because you're real. So thank you for your support and the support of GB News. And now, the actual news with Polly Middlehurst.
Have you ever experienced one of those moments where you watch someone say something on a screen and you want to jump through that screen, stand in front of that person, look them square in the eye and say, really? I have watched this video multiple times and my view of this particular individual has not changed. Did you hear what this man said? He said his programme has no bias, no spin, no censorship. He talks about the cesspit and the trolling on social media. He talks about dark forces. This man is the major proponent of dark forces, trolling and cesspit behaviour against Harry and Meghan. The level of hypocrisy is astounding. The over-explaining, spreading the deflection to your employer and your co-workers so that the focus isn't on you. How dare you? And then you want to turn around to us and say you come with humility and that we should accept that you've made mistakes. You were very conscious of what you were saying when you were disparaging Harry and Meghan with all your cohorts. But now you want us to overlook that because you say there's a smear campaign against you. If you really are going to change in your journalistic approach, let's stop the talk and let's see the evidence. We're sick and tired of this filth. And you've been exposed and you can't handle it. You're another person that can't swallow your own medicine. These broadcasters, Dan Wootton in particular, he always comes out with, you know, really hurtful comments about Harry and Meghan constantly, and they can't rebut them. They can't. In fact, I don't even think they care, to be quite honest. They haven't got time to be refuting comments and claims made by Dan Wootton because, as I stated in my previous video, they are non-entities to Harry and Meghan. They haven't got time to be refuting and rebutting. I guess because they know it's not worth it, because they know what you guys say, these broadcasters, what they say is not true. But Dan Wootton felt the need to go all the way back to New Zealand because of mental health issues. The level of arrogance is so astounding, and it further demonstrates this level of deflection that these characters will adopt so that the spotlight doesn't fall and remain on them. It's like this Hugh Edwards thing. You know, to this day, I've not even delved into that because it's not a space that I want to be. But again, I noted very well that when he was exposed, he claimed to have suffered with his mental health. He was hospitalized by all accounts. So what I'm seeing now is that when these guys, when they are exposed for their depravity and, you know, their undercover shenanigans, what they will do now is claim that they have issues with their mental health. And do you know why that's really insulting? Because people that have real mental health issues, and I can speak from first-hand experience because I have gone through an extensive period of depression years and years ago, and it will creep up on me from time to time, and it's not a nice place to be. People who suffer with their mental health and remain silent, they, when it comes down to it, especially if you're in the public eye, tend not to be believed, as per Meghan when she revealed that she had suffered with her mental health, and it was dismissed by the likes of Morgan. I just, you know, sometimes I actually have no words for these people. These people being these broadcasters who sit on their high horse and pontificate about Harry and Meghan, how awful they are, according to them. Now, if you believe in universal laws and spiritual principles, which I do, this is why I always say you do not need to adopt cancel culture when these things take place. We really do live in a crazy, mixed up world. But with all of the madness that these people continue to do, especially against Harry and Meghan, they will eventually cancel themselves out one by one. We've seen it happen over the last few months, going back even to last year. Jeremy Clarkson, Philip Schofield, now Dan Wootton. It feels to me like a domino effect. And that's why, you know, we let them continue what they're going to continue to do, because they will get exposed. They are being exposed and they will be exposed. And while all of that is going on, Meghan will continue to buy her flowers. So guys, if your thoughts were provoked in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have not yet become a house guest, all you need to do is hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you should catch me in the next video.